Going live. We are live. Coming on, everyone, about a minute early so we can get everyone logged in. Get ready to start our live stream for tonight. Good. Are we still doing the bass and the hi hat? What do you think?
No, you're not.
Mike quit.
Anytime.
Mike failed to join us.
I didn't know. It wasn't I quit. I just never got involved.
Well, you failed to join us. That's the problem.
You know, we were trying to get a nice session going between the three of us, and Mike was supposed to bring in the percussion, and he didn't. I had the bass. Scott had the hi hat.
We were going to do a nice lead in.
We were rocking it too, and then
ruined it. Ruined it.
I'm not a team player, guys.
Thanks, bud.
Bailed on
My
us.
own thing.
No nice.
You didn't have to use percussion. You could have done something else, a triangle, harmonica, or something.
Cowbell.
There you go. Cowbells would have
More
worked.
cowbell.
More cowbell.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining in. I see the people starting to jump on our different social media channels. We're going to give everyone a couple minutes here to log in and join us for our topic tonight. As you're joining in, feel free to say hello. Type any questions you might have for us in the comments.
Mike, you know who doesn't like you? You know who does not like you, Mike?
Uh-oh.
Who? Is it
Putin. I don't
Buddy.
like you. I hacked your computer.
All right, hold on. Where did you get that?
CBS. Like $1.
Why did you spend money on that?
Because it's hilarious. It's funny.
You know,
That's why.
oh,
I had
you,
Kim Jong-un too, but I lost it.
I've got the list of people that don't like us. We're not going there. You were just kidding. 'Cause I was
Oh.
going to start breaking the book out, but
Yeah,
okay.
Let's not go too hard.
Hey, just don't forget you're a villain in somebody else's story.
All right, I'll put that away for now. All
Just
right.
kidding. Putin likes you.
Yes. Hello,
Putin
everyone.
said
As you're
sorry.
joining us live, we're going to give it about another 30 seconds to a minute here before we get started. Our topic tonight is going to be sexual assault awareness. And also launching off our college prep self-defense course as well. We'll talk more about that in just a few minutes. Thanks for everyone that's joining us. Feel free to say hello. Type hello in the comments below. If you have any questions for us throughout tonight's segment, you could join in the conversation with us and type anything you have for questions or statements or comments in the comments box, and that will come across our screen, and we might feature you here on our live stream. So what's the weather like there, Scott and Mike?
Yeah, it's
Yesterday
it's not nice. Yesterday was gorgeous.
Yesterday was, yeah.
Oh, it was
I
gorgeous
don't
here.
understand how it could be. I don't know how it could be rainy, cold one day, beautiful the next, and sunny, no clouds, and then the next day rainy, cloudy, and crappy.
Yeah.
I don't
No.
understand. I don't get it.
You know, I read an article that the weather patterns have shifted because of the planes not being in the air and the pollution not going into the air. Who knows?
Oh.
Yeah, you can see the long lines if you look up.
Even the wildlife's coming out. I saw a news thing today. Animals all over the place because there's no humans.
You know what was weird is I saw a moose driving down to Greenville yesterday,
Yeah, me
like
too.
I do all the time.
I was going to ask you if you were in Vermont yesterday.
Yeah, right.
You must have went to Vermont.
No. So the story, the backstory, guys, is
Another
that
week of abnormal life.
so everyone that's watching understands the backstory of why we bring that up. Is Mike hasn't seen a wild moose up here in the North Woods yet, and he always makes a joke that they're animatronics and they don't exist.
Hold on, no, Jamie, you got to stop. No, it's not just the North Woods, in all of Maine.
I wasn't going to go there.
Over 20 years I've been going up
and it's
Maine,
not
and
just-
I haven't seen a wild moose yet.
Well,
And it's not just Mike. I'm Mike's witness to this.
yeah, this is how sad it is, guys. We were up here running a training event last year, and Mike and Scott stopped at the gate to open up the gate for everyone to enter into the training area. We drive in, and there's a big moose right in front of us, crossing the dirt road, gravel road, walks by us. Slowly, Sean makes his way over into the woods area. And as soon as it goes into the woods, here come Mike and Scott in the tail end of the caravan, pulls up and I'm like, did you see it? No, you didn't see it. So,
And the best part is, I still don't believe it because every grainy picture looked
Oh,
like a down tree.
there are
And there
crystal
was-
clear
I got this
pictures.
for you. It didn't happen.
And
Okay.
there's a 5-gallon drum up there too. It looks like a moose from a distance.
That wasn't it.
This huge barrel. It's
All
a
right.
barrel.
I'll tell you, I don't know. My luck, I'll see it and then I'll try and tackle it, and then that'll be the end of me.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I won't believe what I see.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for joining us. We gave everyone a few minutes to kind of jump on and join us in the conversation tonight. David, hello. How are you? Thanks for joining in. Jeff, thanks for saying hello. And Jeff says, hey, guys, another week of abnormal life. That is correct.
Yeah.
Yes. Dr. Reynolds, how are you? Thanks for joining us tonight. Appreciate you coming online. So guys, April is Sexual Assault Awareness Month. So last week we talked a little bit about the topic and kind of talked that tonight was going to be our big segment and discussing some safety tips, statistics, and some self-defense skills in dealing with the potential of sexual assault or preventing sexual assault, right? Oh, Dr. Reynolds says she saw a moose at Acadia last summer.
Sure. Thank you, Dr. Reynolds. I appreciate you twisting the knife.
Yeah, yep. Everyone's seeing a moose except for Mike, right? All right, guys. So let's get started with our presentation for today, and we're going to first go in here and talk about don't be a victim, right? So talking about sexual assault awareness, and the number one thing that we can give you guys as advice is don't portray yourself and don't think of yourself as a victim. Americans have a greater chance of being a violent crime victim than being injured in a motor vehicle accident. That's a national statistic. And learning self-defense, right? Because that's what we do. We teach you self-defense, and it's important. And I emphasize a lot. Self-defense is more than just a kick and the punch. Self-defense begin with not thinking of yourself as a victim, and also being able to mentally prepare yourself for being able to defend yourself. So being able to realize that you're not going to allow this person to take advantage of you, and you're going to do everything in your power to defend yourself and to get away from this person and go home to your family. And that's an important conversation to have. And we're going to talk and dive into that just a little bit more in a little while here. So let's talk a little bit more about the first phase, right? So last week we discussed this briefly, but there's a couple different phases that happen when dealing with a potential attacker. Now, the first phase of attack is usually called the targeting stage. This is when the attacker is searching for a victim. And one of the things that they're looking for is body language, right? So how you present yourself. Are you carrying yourself with confidence? That body language communicates how comfortable you feel about yourself. In self-defense, effective body language conveys a relaxed sense of confidence. So just walking out of the store and keeping your head up, not looking down at your phone, scanning a parking lot, even if you feel uncomfortable about crowds and people being around you, having that confidence to be able to look over your shoulder and look to the left and look to the right and take in things that are going on around you. Just that body language alone, any predator that's watching you is going to say that may not be an easy target because they're well aware of their surroundings and they're showing and exuding some confidence, right, guys?
Mm-hmm.
So make sure that you are aware of your surroundings at all times, having good situational awareness, and making sure you're creating a keen instinct inside of your mind to think to yourself, just something doesn't feel right. This person is sitting in a car and they're watching me, and something just doesn't make me feel comfortable with that person. Or if you're getting approached in the parking lot, being able to show some confidence as well is going to be important, and we're going to cover that in just a second.
It's important to be in the moment and just be aware, walk with purpose, and that'll send a message to that individual that you're not the one they want.
Right. No, absolutely. The second stage of a predator looking to think if you are going to be their target is going to be a testing phase. And an attack usually involves some kind of verbal communication. So there are two different kinds of verbal self-defense in response to a threat from an attacker, and we're going to discuss both of those. One of them is assertive verbal self-defense, and the other one is cooperative verbal self-defense. And we're going to cover what those two things mean, right? So verbal self-defense and having assertive verbal self-defense is just if someone is approaching you, being able to show that confidence, tell the person, maybe they're coming up and they're kind of analyzing if you're going to be their victim, and they might ask you something like, hey, what time is it? Or, hey, don't I know you from someplace? And being able to have that confidence to say, excuse me, I don't know you, back up, go away, I'm not interested in talking to you. Just that alone could give that confidence to make that person turn around and walk away. So that assertive verbal, being able to be rude, basically, right? And being able to say, you know, get away, I'm not interested in discussing anything with you, walk away from me now, is part of that assertive verbal self-defense. Cooperative verbal self-defense is going to be a situation where maybe you can't be assertive yet. Maybe you're in an area where you're with an individual who is a potential attacker, and they are it's just not the right time for you to be assertive yet. So you might do what's called cooperative verbal self-defense. You're in a situation with this individual where you're able to maybe act like you're going to play along a little bit. Maybe it's a situation where you went out on a date with someone and the person's not taking no for an answer, but he's not physically harming you yet. He's not getting very aggressive yet, but you realize that it could get to this point. So you might cooperate a little bit, say, listen, I really like you, or listen, I want to spend some more time with you, but let's go someplace else, or let's go call my friend and ask them to join us. And maybe just being able to talk them down a little bit and be a little bit more cooperative might give you the opportunity to get away from that individual and to be able to get away from the situation without getting physical. Now, it doesn't always go that way, hence why we do so many trainings with self-defense and teaching you how to properly strike and hit someone. And part of that cooperative verbal self-defense could actually be that you are going to give that cooperative verbal self-defense, and the person is starting to get aggressive because you're not complying. And that cooperative verbal self-defense is going to create that window of opportunity for you to be able to get physical to defend yourself. So that might be another reason for using a cooperative verbal self-defense. It's something we talk about a lot in our training seminars and in our normal classes of that cooperative verbal self-defense. And it could just be, I'll be quite frank with you. If someone has you pinned down on a bed, someone has you pinned down on the ground, and you're fully clothed, they're fully clothed, and they're just trying to get physical control over you, and being able to say, listen, okay, listen, I'll do whatever you want. Please just don't hurt me. I'll do whatever you want. And giving them that sense of that they've accomplished their goal. And then they let down their guard. And then when they let down their guard, that's time to go 200 miles per hour and go at it to defend yourself physically and get away from that attacker. And we'll dig into that a little bit more too. Guys, as we're discussing this, and as you're watching, please put comments, any questions you have, anything you'd like to add to the conversation, put them in the comments on social media, on YouTube or Facebook. We have several people watching. We have 3 different Facebook pages. We have our main page, our Connecticut location, and our Moosehead Lake location. So we have people on various pages. Just put them in the comments. It will come across our screen. Feel free to say hello. Susan joined us a few minutes ago. Hi, Susan. Good to see you guys see you joining us online. So while we're talking here, feel free to put them in the comments or add to the conversation. We'd love to have you guys be part of this conversation. Anything you guys would like to add on either of these two things for verbal self-defense?
No. Nope.
No? We're good? All right, let's move on. All right, there are other skills you can develop to avoid being a victim. Know your area. So we talked about this last week, guys. If you're going to the city, all right, and you're going to visit with some friends, and it could be any city across the United States, pre-plan where you're going in the city, where the restaurant's located, or the club, or the bar that you're going to meet your friends at. Where are you going to park? How late is that garage open? How far is the garage from the place where you're going to be meeting your friends? And make a game plan, right? Maybe you go there as a group, and I would highly suggest that. If you can get together with friends and carpool and go together as a group, that would be fantastic. But sometimes that isn't an option for you, right? So being able to pre-plan getting to that location and being able to pre-survey of where that garage is located. And there's some great resources out there. You've got Google Maps, Google Earth. where you can look at these various locations and being able to see how far they are streetwise and distance-wise to where you're going to be meeting your friends. So those are some great resources. Mike, I know you're really good at pre-planning and looking at some of these places. What's some other resources that would be good for them to be able to pre-plan and look at the facilities before they get there?
No, you can always. I know people don't even like to do it anymore, but you can break out an actual map.
Yeah.
You know, it's something good to have on hand in your vehicle if you get lost.
Right.
Cellular service doesn't always work.
Right.
You know, you can always also Google, just Google the city or the area, you know, and you can do a search and see what pops up for news articles. If it's an area that has a lot of activity,
Right.
You know, you're going to see it.
Right.
You know, like knowing your area too. I mean, you know, I know I harp on this a lot, but like the linear trails are great, but there are sections that, you know, you might not want to go on at a certain time of day when it's getting close to dusk. They're isolated, they're dark. There's a lot of access to woods. You know, if somebody is looking to prey on the innocent, you know, there are areas that are that make it easy for them.
Right.
You know, a person to lie in wait, and then maybe attack somebody, and then move into a more isolated area that's easily accessible off the trail, but not easily visible, or you know, or even if you were to call for help, it is quite isolated, some of these spots.
Right.
So know where you're going and be aware of that before you get there.
No.
Because if you say you pick a garage because it was the best deal, but it's 3 or 4 blocks, and the area you're going through is industrial for some reason, or the businesses are closed like things are now, there's not a lot of stuff that's open. You might want to consider taking a cab, or you know, to and from that location, or an Uber, whatever you choose.
Right.
But it's something to think about.
No, absolutely. Really good points.
Jeff had a good one. You know, when you're in these areas, like I said earlier, be in the moment. You know, it's great to run with music. Don't put both ear pods in or earbuds in. Have something, be aware so you can hear what's going on around you.
Right. No, absolutely. Be aware, which is our second point here, right? Just being aware of your surroundings. And part of that is not having those earphones in so that you can hear what's going on around you, and making sure that you are aware of someone that might be approaching or pulling up in a vehicle. Develop your intuition, right? Trusting your gut instinct and being able to say, hey, you know, something about this person that's approaching me doesn't feel right, or I feel uneasy running down this part of the street. Something just doesn't feel right, doesn't sense correctly, and being able to say, you know, I'm just going to go a different direction, or I'm going to turn around and go back. So developing your intuition, and that could be as simple as going into to meet your friends in the city, like we discussed, and you're walking out of the parking garage, or the guy is parking your car. Just makes you kind of feel uncomfortable with the questions he asks. And here's something to keep in mind, and I encourage this to all my clients. If you ever go into the city and you're parking your vehicle, take your registration and your insurance card out of the vehicle, put it inside of your pocketbook, put it inside of my envelope, and take that identifier away. Because a lot of these parking garages, especially in like New York City, when you go into park, they'll actually park the car for you. And one of the first questions they'll ask you when you're parking the car is, how long are you going to be here? So if you're like, oh, I'm staying overnight, I'm going to be here for 2 days. Now they can go inside of your vehicle. They have the keys. They open up your glove box. They find out your address. They call their buddies and say, hey, this person just parked their vehicle. They said they're going to be in the city for the next day, and check out the house. The other thing is, if you have those stick figures on the back of your vehicle, that can also be a lead on. So if you have a mother, a father, and 2 kids, and a dog as those stick figures on the back of your vehicle, and you pull these parking garages in New York, now that person knows there's that many people in the family, and you've got all of the occupants of the vehicle, the mom, the dad, and the kids in the vehicle. Now they can call their buddy and say, hey, I've got this address for you. The family's here in the city, but they have a dog or they have a cat, because you kind of gave them that information. So if you go into the cities, take your information out of the vehicle, put it inside of your bag, and keep it on you, so that that is an opportunity for them to be able to find out your address or where you live, or your confidential information. Right, guys?
Yeah, I know we pick on New York City, but it's not because
any city.
It's close to us.
Yeah.
It's a major city in our area. You know, I know we're talking about develop that intuition. Trust your gut, and that's the biggest thing. If you if it doesn't feel right, trust it. You may not be able to explain it or articulate it, but
Right.
if you go with that feeling and adjust for it, you might get lucky and not have to. You won't have the evidence as to why you had that feeling.
Yeah.
It's better not to have that evidence and be okay than ignore that feeling and then have something happen to you.
Right. Oh, absolutely. Have a fighting spirit. What does that mean? Well, that means not allowing yourself to be the victim and realize that if you need to defend yourself, that you're going to go all out and being able to do so. So that's something else we're going to dive into in just a couple minutes as well. But have a strong fighting spirit and don't allow yourself to become a victim. Right?
How about that fighting spirit? If you have the OC spray or you have that weapon that you carry at the bottom of your purse, make sure you have it out, have it available, and make sure it's still good.
Know how to deploy it. Right?
Yeah,
we talk about this all the time. You buy this mace spray, but have you ever tried using it and see how it sprays and how it works?
No sense I'm trying to use it when
I would suggest buying two.
Right.
I would suggest buying two of the same one you're going to carry, the exact same packaging, and then make sure you're not shooting into the wind. Get outside and see what kind of pattern it shoots.
Yeah.
Is it a stream? Is it a fog? How far does it go?
Right.
A lot of people, they buy these, they couldn't tell you what kind of pattern it has and what the distance of the spray is. They don't even know if it, a lot of people now, if you looked in your bag or wherever you're keeping it, it's expired. They've had it. Oh, I've had it for 10 years. It may not even work. You may activate it and it'll leak out of the nozzle and you've got nothing for you.
Right.
And don't forget, whatever you bring to the fight can be used against you.
Absolutely.
You spray them, you're going to get cross-contaminated and you're going to have to fight through it just like this person, the bad guy. Right. So you be prepared to have to fight, and even though you're in pain or you can't see very well, you're coughing. If you're going to use it, you better know how to fight through it, or that you can fight through it.
Right.
I mean, I'm not telling everybody to run out and spray themselves in the face with their OC. However, law enforcement, we do that. We get sprayed with our own equipment, and we fight through it. But we learn that it's not fun, but it's not going to stop you if you really don't want it to.
Right. Absolutely. So here's a statistic that's always shocks me every time I bring it up. So women over 35 are most vulnerable to an assault in their home. Prevent entrance to your home by making it difficult for a criminal to just walk in. The more difficult you make it for the criminal, the less likely it will be able to gain entrance. Right. So let's talk about some safety tips for prevention at home. So use a sturdy door. Solid wood doors with a good deadbolt set is important. So if you have a lock set, and making sure that you have the top and the bottom lock, the doorknob that locks, but you also have a nice thick, heavy set deadbolt is very important. Doors and windows should be locked at all times. And I know that a lot of people like to have their windows open during the summertime. So having some type of security feature on that window that would allow you maybe to open up a little bit, but not have, if someone was to come over and try to lift that window up, it would be locked into place. Now, a lot of the newer windows have those windows that can pop out and be cleaned. Those are easy to break into and to actually get the mechanism to break open and to be able to get the windows out. So you want something other than what came with the window to help it lock. And it could be as simple as just getting a piece of wood that you cut to the size of where you want to open your window. So it's a little bit of air flows able to come in underneath, and that piece of wood gets stuck inside the door jamb or window jamb over to the side. And if you try to open up the window anymore, that piece of wood's going to be there obstructing being able to open up that window anymore. So those are some simple and easy things you can do to be able to make sure someone can't gain entrance through your windows. There's several abductions that have happened with kids over the years where a father or mother has left a window open throughout the house, and that's how they end up gaining entrance into the home, was through a window. And one of them was Elizabeth Smart. So don't make it easy for the person. Make sure to have those windows locked and make sure you have the proper security in mind and using and utilizing it. Install an extra wide angle peephole indoors. So when you look out the window, you know, sometimes in hotel rooms, you can see the angle of the hallway and seeing if someone is up against the wall on either side of the door. That's what we mean by an extra wide angle peephole indoors to be able to see outside. Make sure areas by doors and windows have a good light source. So a nice bulb that's lighting, illuminating the area. They're functioning properly. If there's motion sensor set, make sure the motion sensors are set properly and they're working at the right appropriate time and distance that you want. If someone is approaching your home, these are all simple things that that I think you can utilize and being able to put a game plan together. Be assertive with strangers inside of your home. And this is a big one. If you got a repairman inside of your home or someone is coming to your home to try to work on you know, an appliance or work on your furnace or is installing flooring, being able to tell that person and stay with that person when they're working on your home is important. Or if they're like, hey, can I use your bathroom? That's a big one. Hey, guys, have you ever had that happen? If you had a worker home alone with your wife and they're like, hey, can I use the bathroom? What would you say at that point? I've told my wife, no, I'm sorry. You know, if you need to leave and come back, you can come back. But having them have access to the bathroom, what are they putting in the bathroom? I know you want to be polite, but there's safety features here that you got to be cognizant of and be aware of. I always stay in the room with repairmen while they're doing their work. Right. I usually set up shop. I'll bring my laptop down and I'll set up shop, say, listen, I'm just going to be right over here. I'm going to be doing some work while you're working on the furnace or you're working on the refrigerator or whatever they might be working on. And to say, if you need anything for me, let me know. Right. Or I'll stand over them and I'll say, yeah, I'm intrigued by what you do. I want to learn a little bit in case I ever need to do this repair myself. So if you don't mind, I'm just going to kind of hang out with you a little bit and being able to keep an eye on that person. Now, we're not saying that person is going to be an attacker, but that person can find out the landscape of your home pretty simply if you're not in that room. They could go through personal belongings. They could listen to conversations you're having with other people in other areas of the home. So these are reasons why I highly suggest these security steps and making sure you're not leaving any stone unturned and making sure that you're thinking your safety in mind. Right, guys?
Let's talk about the unexpected guest who shows up at the door. A lot of these home invasions, a lot of these attacks occur when the person, the homeowner, hears the doorbell and just goes open the door, blatantly opens the door.
Right.
Now this person, that's a shoo-in. I'm going to push you out of the way. I'm going to force my way in, and I'm going to lock the door and take care of what I got to do. How about go to a window, open a window, and look at the front door. Can I help you with something? Or open the other. There's a window on the other side of the door. Don't just open the door blatantly. And that's where a lot of time where a lot of these occurs or these home invasions and attacks are happening. Because we figure the doorbell's ringing. Let's be kind and open the door and see who it is.
Right.
Today you can't do that. So
yeah. Different day and age.
A different way.
Yep.
If you have a ring doorbell, you answer the door through the ring doorbell.
Right. You know, we watched a video that happened within the past couple of weeks out in the Chicago area of a home invasion where the two guys had the surgical mask, walked up to the front door, and the guy rings the ring doorbell. And he says to the guy that's behind him,
shows his buddy.
Yeah, he says, that's a camera. Don't look at it. And as soon as they open up the door, boom, they force their way inside of the home and fight was on. So these guys, they're well aware of security features, how they work. The Ring doorbell camera is a fantastic device if you use it properly and you don't open your door and you look who's outside. But here's the other thing to keep in mind with these security cameras, they're going to be great evidence after the incident has occurred, but they're not necessarily going to help you in the instant and when it's happening, right? And these guys having surgical masks on and covering their faces or coming up, maybe you're going to get if there's any tattoos on their skin, or maybe you'll get an accent or what their voice sounds like. But maybe their height is another thing you'll get. But other than that, you're not going to have much to go on off those video cameras. So being able to prepare yourself for that fight inside your home, being able to use objects and things inside your home to defend yourself, and having a game plan is extremely important. That's why we're emphasizing all these things with you tonight. And prevention.
Think about outside your home, around the door itself. Don't have anything overgrown that can provide them a play area for concealment to lie in wait.
Right.
Have it well lit, and so if you can, as you're approaching, you can see what's going on around your entry. Your doorways, and while you're in the house looking out, can you see what's going on around those doors? Can you see what's going on in your yard?
Yeah.
Those are things to consider too. It's great to have wonderful landscaping, But if it's creating places for somebody to conceal themselves and lie in wait, then that's a problem.
Right. Absolutely. Install an alarm. So having an alarm system is a great thing as well, but you got to use it. So if you're home and you're inside of your home and you're going to be home all day, all afternoon, in the evening time, arm the alarm with the stay feature so that the inside motion sensors won't be armed, but the door alarms will be armed. Any bad guy that's going to walk up to the house, that's going to look inside of your window and try to get a little sneak peek of what's going on inside of there, sees that alarm panel and sees that red dot lit, is going to realize that the alarm is armed and that you're in that mindset of making sure your home is protected. So that might make them move on to another home. So utilizing that alarm once you have it installed is extremely important as well. There's also, let's break into this alarm topic a little bit. With the alarm systems, there are many different ways you can have things set up of how they respond to certain types of alarms. So if there's an alarm from a motion sensor, you can tell your alarm company, if this motion sensor goes off, I want you to call the house first and check, then respond with the police if you don't get the proper response from the home. You could also set up where if this door in my basement, if that alarm ever goes off, or this motion sensor is set up in the corner of my basement where I don't really access ever, it goes off, I want immediate response. I want you to call the home second. I want you to dispatch police first, and then call the home and find out what's going on, because you are well aware that if someone is inside of that area and that motion sensor is going off and it's the middle of the night, it probably wasn't you getting up in the middle of the night going for a drink of water in the kitchen. Something actually moved that sensor in a way that you probably want an immediate response. So having a game plan with your family members and sitting down and saying, okay, here's where my motion sensors are set up. Here's where my door alarm and door sensors are set up. And here's what I want as protocol with the alarm company. And you're going to need to call the alarm company and have a direct conversation with them of how to set this up. Don't assume that it's been already done for you. And here's a reality, guys. Alarm company ends up getting an alarm code in the middle of the night. You front door sensor is going off and someone has now entered inside of your home. The first thing alarm company is going to do under normal procedure is call the house, right? So now they call the house, no one picks up the phone. The second call might be going down your contact list. And so now they call the house, then they try your cell phone, then they call your significant other's cell phone. Now there's no answer to any of those. Okay, well, let's let the police know that there's an activated alarm at this residence. Now that goes into the police department. Now here's the reality, and you guys can pick up the conversation a little bit here. That alarm goes into the police dispatch as an activated burglar alarm at your address. During that same time frame, 5 minutes prior to that alarm going off, there's a multi-car accident inside of that town. The priority is going to be that car accident not responding to your home because it's just an activated burglar alarm. And I'll let you guys pick up the conversation a little bit from here. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, especially if there's an accident with known injuries, like he's mentioned. Yeah, we'll definitely probably hit that first, and then while we're hitting that, while we're going to that, they'll dispatch somebody else. So if it's my area and there's an alarm, they may pull me from the alarm to go to the accident, and then they'll just send another unit to the burglar alarm. So yeah, unfortunately, the accident with injuries will probably take precedence, but we'll definitely get to the house.
Right.
So, especially at that time.
Well, yeah, but the reality is
that late at night, we'll definitely get there.
Yeah, but you can't gauge on the availability or staffing. You can't guarantee anything with we want to get to those alarms. Like Scott's saying, though, you have a crash, 2 cars are tied up there because one needs a direct traffic or there's injuries, and then you've got a domestic or some other serious call going on. So there is a good chance that call could be stacked for a few minutes or set on hold because we're tied up on priority calls.
Right.
We do our best as supervisors to break people away from these calls to go to any calls for service, but there are times where it's a very involved scene, and it's not something that can happen readily or easily.
Right. And here's the reality. How many of those alarms are actually false? End up being a family member that tripped off the alarm. It's a huge percentage that are false, correct?
Yep.
So
that's another thing too, right? How many times have we responded to the alarm in the last month, last year, whatever? Not saying it's not important, that it can't be anything serious, but if we're going to the alarm every weekend, then it's Okay, well,
Yeah, for that same
we'll go
sensor
there-
going
we'll
off.
go there. Yeah,
Right, right. So make
I
sure
think
you're
every town out there has a business or a certain alarm that gets
Yes.
set off almost the same time every day by
Yeah.
the same employee that can't seem to figure it out. And we're human. The guys responding to these calls are human beings, and you start seeing that trend, and you're like, here we go again.
right.
So
yeah.
So, and
It's
the reason
not
why
even
we're
just a regular.
go ahead, Scott.
It's not even the regular burglary alarm that they're setting off. We have businesses setting panic alarms off, which we're going lights and sirens because the panic alarm is something bad is happening where they don't want the bad guy to know, and it's always I hit the alarm by accident.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was there. I didn't know what that was. So
And the other reason why I'm bringing this to your attention and digging into this a little bit is that if the alarm goes off in the middle of the night and someone kicked in your front door and you're not able to pick up your phone and answer the calls, it's going to be minutes before the police are dispatched. And then if they are dispatched, it could be going into this cycle of there are other priority calls and what resources are available to get over to check on you. And a lot can happen within just a couple of minutes of you waiting for that law enforcement to arrive. So it is your utmost importance of making sure that you are putting steps in place to be able to protect your home and protect yourself. That's why I'm telling you this. And
the response time could vary 3 to 5 minutes or longer, depending on time of day, traffic on the road. If it's a regular alarm going off with no other information, they're going to respond quickly. But
no lights and siren.
Reasonable speed. There's no right there. If you don't have other information, why would you travel, place a higher risk to yourself and others if there's not if it's a standard alarm?
Right.
Just an alarm. You get a call now that my front door is being kicked in. That changes the game for the response.
Yeah.
They still need to get there, so there has to be due care because what good are we if we crash on the way to this call? But
right.
It's you have to understand that too. And
right.
even if we are rushing to get there, look at the size of your town. On a easy day, how or a regular weekend or even during a weekday, how fast can you get across town even without the aid of lights and sirens?
Right.
But I've gone to calls where we were lights and sirens and there's so much traffic, it didn't matter what you were blaring on your horn. The cars had nowhere to go.
Right.
So that's part of it too. There's just other factors that get in the way.
Right. So we're telling you this so you're aware. And when the alarm is going off and you're sitting inside of your living room and someone is entering inside of your home and you're thinking, oh, the alarm's going off, police will be here any minute. It's going to be minutes, plural, between the calls from the alarm company coming in and the police getting dispatched. That's why I'm saying prioritize what sensor, what time of day, and what that response is going to be from the alarm company. Also, stipulation here, be aware of false alarms with some municipalities. They might charge you a fee for coming out to a false alarm. Some will give you a couple of freebies. I'm not sure where it is in your municipalities, guys, but sometimes there's 1 or 2 freebies. And then after that, you'll start getting charged by the town for the response to false alarms. And that's just forcing you to make sure you're being aware of the alarm, getting it fixed, making sure it's up to date, and make sure you're not setting it off accidentally all the time and taking resources away from the town. Right, guys?
right.
And if you think about it, say we on a great response, maybe 3 to 5 minutes. So take that 3 to 5 minutes, time it, see how fast you can move without. I mean, you don't have to make a damage anything in your home, but move from the front door up to the bedroom or around your home. See how far you can get into your home in that time.
Yeah.
In that 3 to 5 minutes, you're going to see that you can get a lot of places throughout a house. And if you're waiting for help and you're sitting there, you're going to have that. It's going to feel like an eternity.
Yeah.
We can't get there fast enough.
Well, think about this. A commercial break sometimes could be 3 to 5 minutes, right? And you end up going and getting something out of the refrigerator, taking the dog out to go to the bathroom, coming back in, and then you go to sit down. You're like, oh, man, there's still another commercial playing. So it can happen, right? The amount of time that it could take for that response and how much things can happen in that amount of time is all we want you to really be aware of. Add coverings over your windows for privacy. So if you're sitting inside your home with a nice big screen TV and you've got all these valuable things inside of your home and your outside of your home isn't well lit, any person with bad intention can walk up to your windows, look inside, and get a great view of all the valuables, what the layout is inside of your home, how many people are inside the home. And if there's something inside the home they might want, you all of a sudden become a resource for them. So add coverings over your windows for privacy. Put interior lights on a timer. So if you're not home a lot or you work late, maybe having different lights in different parts of your home go off and on at different times. And now with the development of technology with these smart light bulbs that you can put in at different times and set timers and turn them on and off, it's pretty easy to do. Use your last name on the mailbox or front door buzzer. So rather than having your full name where someone can figure out your identity, maybe just putting your last name on the mailbox, or if you live in an apartment building or condo complex, just using your last name as an identifier so that someone can't walk up, knock on the door and say, hey, John, are you home? Because they saw John was on your written on your mailbox. So making sure you're taking some extra safety precautions and steps to be able to be safe, right? So on the street, things you can do to be safe. Keep your hands free. Get off the cell phone. Don't put your hands inside of your pockets. If you are carrying, a bag or a backpack, put it over your shoulder. Put it on your non-dominant shoulder side so that your dominant side is available and easy to strike and to move. Carry your cell phone and know how its emergency features work. So have your cell phone, make sure it's charged, and make sure how to activate 911 emergency features on your cell phones. Android devices, iPhone devices all have special features in them nowadays where you can hit a certain pattern or code inside the phone and it will automatically dispatch out to a local police agency. Carry enough money, and I suggest hidden for a taxi or bus fare. So if something does happen to you when you go out on a date and things just go south and you're like, I'm out of here, I want to have nothing to do with this person, and you leave, make sure you have money on you to be able to get home and being able to get away from that situation that you're in. I also suggest hiding money on you. So if things do get to a point that you're going to physically defend yourself and maybe you get robbed or your pocketbook or your bag or your wallet get taken away from you, having money hidden on you some way, shape, or form to be able to access if you get away is important as well. So having some type of cash on your body. Going around groups of men instead of through them. So if you're walking down the street, there's a loud group of individuals standing in front of you, they're being rowdy, it kind of makes you feel uncomfortable. Why continue to go that way? Instead, walk around those individuals. Go to the other side of the street and continue walking rather than walking through that group. Same thing in a restaurant. Rather than walking through a group of males in the restaurant, if you can walk around a different way, even if it's a little bit longer to get to the bathroom or get out of the restaurant, if it makes you feel more comfortable and safe, why not do that? So being aware.
I think, Jamie, it would be wise just to avoid walking through a group of anybody that's together.
Yeah.
We've seen it time and again now where male and female, a mob of youths on the street, and they're lining up and they're attacking somebody. It's like sport for them.
Right.
Stay out of the group. Avoid them. A male or female or whatever. But if they get the mob mentality and they feel brave,
right,
I'd avoid it.
Yeah, absolutely. And guys, as you're listening to us here, we see a lot of people on our different social media channels. We got people on our YouTube. We got 3 different Facebook channels, and people are on all 3 of those channels. Put questions for us in the comments or add to the conversation. If you have something you'd like to say, put them in the comments box, and maybe we'll feature you up here on the screen in just a little bit. And make sure that if someone asks you for directions or asks you your name, it's okay to be rude. It's okay, and you have the right to not reply to that person. Make sure you're in well-lit streets and areas as you're walking to your vehicle and you're out and about. Avoid being on a street alone at night, especially if you are upset or under the influence of drugs or alcohol. If you go to meet friends and you're out for a night in the town and you go as a group, you should leave as a group. And there should be a pact between you and your friends that if one person leaves, you all leave. And that's extremely important, and it can help keep you all safe. Try to take walks and runs with friends and neighbors rather than just going solo and running. And we actually had an incident from a client of ours where a neighbor was out for a jog within the past couple of weeks and was being followed by a vehicle. And the person pulled up next to her and said, "Get inside the car." And she said, "Hell no," and went running into a yard and ran to a neighbor's house and started knocking on the door. So it can happen anytime, any place. It was in a nice neighborhood in Connecticut that this happened. So try to stay together in groups, walk with friends and neighbors. Now you got to practice social distancing, but it doesn't mean you couldn't get a group together to go for that walk and making sure you're staying safe. Anything you guys want to add to this? No?
Yes, sir.
All right. Let's talk about driving in a car. Avoid driving with a near empty tank. Make sure your gas tank is filled or above halfway, so that if you are in a situation where maybe somebody is following you, or you end up taking a wrong turn when you went to go meet your friends, and you end up in a neighborhood that you're unfamiliar with, the last thing you want to do is run out of gas, and you want to be able to make sure that that car is in good running order as well. So make sure to keep your gas tank filled, make sure the maintenance is done on your vehicle, and that you're not going to have any mechanical issues if, God forbid, something happens where you find yourself in a place that you are unfamiliar with. Keep your doors locked and windows rolled up. So if you're in traffic, don't make yourself an easy target to a carjacking. Instead, put your windows up. Maybe leave a little bit of crack if you want some fresh air, so that it isn't easy for someone to walk up, reach inside the vehicle, grab your pocketbook, or open up your car door and access inside of the vehicle. Part of our carjacking seminar, we also discussed making sure to keep plenty of space between the front of your vehicle and the car in front of you. So if you are stuck in traffic, someone comes up and tries pulling you out of the vehicle or grabbing something out of the vehicle, and you need to step on that gas, being able to maneuver left or right, and get out of that traffic flow is important. I always suggest leaving plenty of space that you can see over the front hood of your car and see the pavement underneath the tires of the vehicle in front of you. That usually gives you enough maneuverable space to be able to go left or right and pull out of that traffic flow. If your car breaks down, turn on emergency flashers and call the police from your mobile phone. If someone stops to help, stay in the car, write a note asking him or her to call the police. So don't get outside your vehicle. Don't stand looking upset and distressed outside your vehicle, and people start pulling over and trying to help, and you're unsure what their intentions really are. Stay inside the vehicle, stay safe, put your hazard lights on, and contact the police immediately. Let them know your location, and have them come out to help and assist you. If you're being followed, call the police and start driving to the closest police station, fire station, hospital, emergency entrance. Never allow someone to follow you home, right? So if you find yourself that you're being followed, don't allow them to see where you're going home. So if let's say you leave the grocery store and you sense that you're being followed, that means that you're not going to go your normal route home. You're going to go a different direction and turn down a different street than you normally would to see if that car is continuing to follow you. And if it is, that's when you start wanting to take that safety precaution to be able to get to the police department and make that call for help. Park in well-lit areas and always lock your car when you leave it. So make sure that you don't leave any valuables in your car, any identifiers of like mail that tells your address that might be sitting on the passenger seat where they could see where you live and where you're located. Now they walk up to your vehicle, they see an envelope, they see your name, they see your address. Now they follow you home. Maybe you do turn down that other street because you think you're being followed, but they realize where you are because they just Googled your address. So make sure you don't make it easy for someone to figure out where you live, and don't leave any personal information out inside your vehicle, and make sure it's locked. Avoid parking next to vans, as you can be pulled in through the sliding door. Make sure to check around under and inside your vehicle as you approach it. So rather than walking directly up to your vehicle, if you're parked in a lane of cars, don't walk along the lane of cars and then directly to your vehicle. Walk on the opposite side of the lane, so that as you approach your vehicle, you can kind of see underneath your vehicle a little bit. You can see to the sides, and maybe if someone's standing on the other end of your vehicle, you can see a shadow underneath the vehicle. So it's important to approach your vehicle in a certain way that you could take on what's going on around your vehicle as you approach. Make sure a friend is safely inside of her home or his home, and that her or his car has started before you driving away, and ask your friends to do the same for you. So when you drop a friend off at home, you should have 2 code signals. 1 code or signal is going to tell you everything's fine, good, I'm home, I'm inside, I'm safe. 2 is another signal that they would give you that would alert you that something is not right inside of the home. Because let's say that they enter inside the home and someone has a knife to their back or a gun to their back, and they can't just come up and say, hey, there's someone inside of my home. You should have 2 symbols. An example would be flick of the lights tells that person that just dropped you off that everything is fine inside the home. If you give them a thumbs up, that tells them something is wrong inside your home. And what that person needs to do immediately is give you the thumbs up back. That's your signal back and forth that something is not right, and I heard you loud and clear. They start backing out the driveway, immediately call 911 and say, I've got a code system with my friend. I just dropped her off. She lives at X, him or her live at X address, and they just gave me a signal that something's not right inside of their home. that will give the authorities the proper information and allow them to start making a process of how they're going to get to that home and figure out what the situation is. But do not get out of your vehicle. Do not approach that home and put yourself in danger or put that person in more danger. Make sure you have a game plan with your friends. Same thing when you go drop off of a friend and they're getting inside their car to leave. You carpool together. They parked in a parking garage. You're driving them to the parking garage. Make sure their car starts. Make sure you see them backing out of the car space and driving away, so that you know that the car is running properly and that they're on their way to getting home safe as well. Have those game plans with your friends. Have those discussions with your friends ahead of time are extremely important, right? Katie has carjacking while pumping the gas too. Lock passenger side of the car. Absolutely, right? So Katie is saying that to prevent that carjacking while pumping gas too, lock the passenger side of your car, lock your vehicle as you get out, and making sure that you're taking the proper precautions to make sure that you're being safe when you're at the gas station. Extremely important.
Something you have to actually think about doing it. A lot of cars, when you go to exit, you shut the car off and open your door, all the doors will pop.
Right.
You can change how that operates, but take the keys out of the ignition with you. Don't leave you're not supposed to leave the car running, but people do. And
right.
It just gives it's an easy grab and go, that carjacking. So your kids are in the back seat. Somebody sees that opportunity, they run over, hop in, and they're gone.
Right.
And you left the car running, you left the door wide open, and it was easy for them to grab that vehicle.
Right.
And they do. People do jump on the easy crime.
And a lot of these
a good opportunity.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And a lot of these newer vehicles, the key fob has a sensor on it to give proximity sensor, so they can unlock the door when you touch it. So imagine you have that proximity sensor on your key fob inside of your pocket. You lock the doors, you're pumping gas, but some guy walks over to touch the passenger side door or the driver's side door. What's going to happen? The door's going to unlock, thinking it might be you, and now they jump inside of your vehicle. And maybe you left a key fob inside, or maybe the key fob's close enough where they can get the car started, and now they're on their merry way. So you got to think these things through and know the safety procedures inside your vehicle and how they operate, right?
Stop. People don't leave your spare key in the glove box.
Yeah.
With these
in the car, period.
Proximity sensor. I locked it when I got out. You walk away, and like Jamie's saying, the person walks over. They try the handle. It
right.
senses the key in the car, and it opens the door.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's move on to our next slide, guys. We're almost done here.
Jamie, I want to can you back up one slide, Jamie?
Yeah, go ahead.
Something to think about. Like we're telling you, if you're being followed, to start driving towards a police station. That's a good one. Call on the phone, because think about it. A lot of the places that we would normally be able to just walk right into if we arrive somewhere, a lot of them are closed now.
Right.
And you have to make contact via phone. So a key there is calling ahead, reaching out for help. And let the responding agency or the local agency, guide their units to you as you talk to on the phone. Yeah. Don't assume just by going to a substation or a firehouse or wherever that you're going to be able to stroll right in for help.
Right.
There are a lot of times officers there or personnel on scene, but you may not be able to get into the lobby initially.
Right. No, it's a very good point. And it's better to be safe than sorry. So there's no reason why you can't call and ask for help. And even if you think you're being followed, and maybe you pull into the police department and the guy goes on his merry way, but at least you feel safe and you made that call. An officer comes out, asks you some questions, and maybe they can meet up with that vehicle later. Or maybe you have some identifiers. You have a plate number and you have an identifier of what that person looks like. Now they put that in the system. They made record of it. Now what happens if a week later that same vehicle is following some other person in that same town? Now they're starting to create a series of events that have happened with that license plate, with that vehicle, with this individual, which can really alert authorities to be able to deal with this and be more proactive in stopping a crime before it happens. So your call could actually be helpful to them, because maybe they're already looking for this individual, or maybe this person's already wanted on a crime, and you were able to bring things to light quicker. So don't hesitate, make that phone call, make sure you're safe, right, guys?
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, and listen, it's great to be able to provide investigating officer a plate or a tag on the car, but don't put yourself in a dangerous situation just to get that information.
Right.
If you're going to drive into a parking lot or a cul-de-sac and be blocked in by this person, just thinking you are going to turn around real quick and get that plate, it's not worth it.
No.
There is a good chance that it's a misuse of plates or from another car or stolen plate. It could always be the case. and that information may not be valuable at all.
Right.
But it's not worth to put yourself in any danger or
Right.
any more danger than what you feel like you're in at that point.
Absolutely. Yep. Sylvie, you're saying hello on one of our Facebook channels. Sylvie, thank you for joining us. I appreciate it. Sylvie also said all great advice. Thank you. We appreciate that. Guys, let's move on to the next slide here. Right. On public transportation. So if you're taking subway, bus, and you're on public transportation, when waiting for public transportation, assume a balanced position behind the bench so that you cannot be pulled into a passing car. So a lot of these benches that are waiting for like a bus to pick you up would be right along the curb line. So if someone was to pull up quickly, they would be able to grab you and pull you inside of the vehicle. Stand on the back side of the bench, not in front of the bench or not sitting on the bench. Be behind it. Create that object between you and that person potentially trying to take you away or abduct you. Sit near the driver and stay awake when you're on these public transit. So sit behind the bus driver and be well aware of your surroundings and not falling asleep or taking a nap. If someone harasses you, tell the driver immediately. If you feel someone is following you when you get off, walk towards a populated area, avoid walking directly home, and call for help, right? Make that call and ask for help. Anything you guys want to add on this one, guys?
No, I think train stations, there's usually law enforcement or security or somebody walking around.
Yeah.
So you can walk right to them. They're usually out when trains come in. They're usually out on the where the trains are. So they're
Right.
easily identifiable. So you
Right.
can contact with one of them.
You know, here's the other thing. Keep in mind with everything that's going on nowadays, everyone, that you got these surgical masks on. Crimes in the New York City subway are up a staggering amount of, people getting robbed right now. And so just be aware of your surroundings. Think your plan through of where you're going to be traveling and how you're going to be traveling, and have a game plan in mind and have a backup plan in mind is extremely important. Right? At work, if you are uncomfortable about getting on an elevator with a lone man or a group of men, wait for the next one. There's no reason why you have to get on that elevator, right? And if they sometimes say, hey, aren't you coming on? Say, no, I'm waiting for my friend. Or, oh, I've just got to make a quick phone call. I'll take the next one. You have things that you could say, that you could practice and rehearse in your mind, that you have a go-to to be able to use verbally to be able to get out of that situation. Now, this person is really adamant about you getting onto that elevator and saying, hey, jump on the elevator. What are you waiting for? I'll take that call after. Jump on the elevator. That's even more reason why you probably shouldn't be taking that elevator ride, and you made the right decision, right? Check the identification of service delivery and repair people if you have any doubt about them. So even if you're at work and you're a secretary or receptionist or an administrator or manager, no matter what your position is at work, it's okay to ask for identification and make sure you know the person that's coming into your area and that's doing work there. Or if you see someone doing work inside of your office building and you weren't aware that someone was going to be there doing work, why not tell a superior or ask a coworker, hey, did you know that something was getting worked on downstairs? And maybe that person isn't supposed to be there, or maybe that repairman isn't supposed to be in the building. So do your due diligence, make sure you're being safe, make sure you're aware of people that are doing work and around inside of buildings as well. Know your routes of escape in your work area. You should have at least 2 or 3 options of being able to get out of an area in your work. Is there a front door? Is there a back door? If those doors are blocked and I can't get out for whatever reason, is there a way to get out from an office window, or in the bathroom? Is there a window to get outside the building? And where is that window located? Is it on a second story, so I wouldn't be able to jump down, or is it on a second story but there's raised platform outside of their emergency escape? Know these things ahead of time and have a plan in mind of how you would be able to get out of that building. If you work late, find out who else is in the building. When you leave, ask someone or perhaps a security guard to accompany you to your car. Now, I say security guard. There's a lot of great security guards out there, but if you look at the rap sheets of serial killers, a majority of them were, guys, security guards.
Security guards.
Okay, so
look at the Golden Gate, the Golden State serial killer.
Yep, absolutely.
He was a former police officer.
Yep. So what this means, guys, is that there's always one person you can always depend on, and that person is yourself. So have the knowledge and make sure that you are trusting your intuition, have a game plan on how to get yourself out of situations, and make sure that you are putting to your training and you're training in a situation where you can put this, you can practice it, you can rehearse it, verbalization drills are things that we rehearse all the time in our classes. How to de-escalate things, we rehearse all the time in our classes. Stress inoculation. Can you get under stress? Can you get your heart rate up? Can you still respond appropriately and being able to get away from someone, initiate combative, do your self-defense techniques, call 911, wall underneath that stress. All things that we push inside of our training center in our classes and our seminars. So make sure that you are getting a proper level of training to be able to defend yourself is extremely important as well, right? Lee jumped online. Hi, Lee. A majority of serial killers are rejected by the academy. Yeah. Okay.
I hope so.
Absolutely. Jennifer Bernstein also says that she's got local police and the numbers to her phone of different towns that she's in, so that it's easier to contact them and I have to look up their phone number, right, or Google the phone number of that police department. So that's a great idea as well.
That is a good idea to have that, Jamie. But if you're being followed or you feel you're in danger, 911 is the best way to go.
Yeah.
The enhanced 911 now they can pinpoint or get a better location on where you are. You might be giving out maybe the wrong street, or you're not sure where you are because you're under stress. You're freaking out a little bit,
right,
which is totally understandable. That can help them, identify where you are and help get the resources to you.
Yeah.
So 911 is if it's an emergency,
right?
It's what it's there for. If you're calling 911 to ask when the parade is, or can I park on this street, that's not the right use of 911. But when you feel you're in danger or there's some emergency, it's fine.
Yeah. Nope. I totally agree, guys. Very important.
And two, if you're going to dial them, if you don't know where you are and you're going to dial that 911, most likely your cell phone's going to go to the state police, and the state police will put you in contact with the town you're in. So if you know you're in Hamden, but you don't know where, you don't know the number, you're not going to look up the number while you're driving. You're not going to obviously pull over because this guy's following you. Call 911. It's most likely going to go to the state police, and the state police will direct you where you got to go.
Right.
They'll connect you to Hamden Police Department.
Right. They'll ask
wherever you are.
And from there, you say, "Oh, I'm in Hampton," and they'll ask where, and they'll dispatch it out. But what's happening is while that's going on, the call's being recorded, which I think is an important factor. So if let's say that you are being followed, you get inside your vehicle and you call 911, and then you just drop your cell phone down on the center console, and someone is trying to have a conversation with you or trying to get inside your vehicle, now that call is being recorded, and that dispatcher can hear that you're in trouble, you might need help, and then they can start to triangulate your location and start to get help to you sooner. So using 911 is extremely important, right, guys? Yep. Let's see. Jennifer says, but if I'm driving to their station, I can let them know I'm coming. But if you're driving to their station, same thing, Jennifer. I would still call 911, right? If you feel like you're being followed and you're driving to the police station, would your advice be, guys, still use 911?
If you're being followed and you're driving to my station, 911. Yeah. And the E911 system, the way it's supposed to work is you route you to the nearest PD. And if it doesn't, it goes to the state police. You just tell them what town you're in. The state will transfer you right to Southington or New Britain or Hartford or whatever town you're in or you're trying to get to, and they're gonna we'll know you're coming.
Yeah.
So it's instead of trying to figure out, and 911 is a higher priority ring through on the PSAPs, the public safety answering points. So it's a different ring. It's a different response with the communicators. Not that they ignore the other calls, but 911 has requirements of how fast you're supposed to answer those calls.
Yeah.
And again, it tags your location. So if you can't yell out where you are, so you've got a lot going on in the car, or there's somebody now they got you boxed in and they're trying to force the door open, you're yelling for help. They can better pinpoint where you are.
Right.
And again, like we said, get those resources to you. It also helps you get to the right agency. You may think you're in one town, but or you're on the outskirts and you're crossing borders. At least they can, direct you to the right location, or they can help you find where to go. Right.
No, absolutely. Good questions, guys. I'm really excited that you guys are entering into the conversation and asking these things. You're not going to get. You're going to have a wrong idea of what you can and can't do. So ask the questions, guys. We've got authorities here that can answer the proper questions and tell you what you should and shouldn't be doing. So please engage the conversation. Put them in the comments if you have any questions. We'd love to answer those questions for you. Let me jump back in. I got a couple more slides before we finish off here, guys. The next thing I want to talk about is domestic violence and about intimate relationships. Husbands, ex-husbands, boyfriends, ex-boyfriends commit 26% of all rapes and sexual assaults against women, right? So the best defense against domestic violence is prevention. Learn to spot the characteristics of batterers, right? So here's some things: jealousy, controlling behavior, quick involvement, rushes you into engagement or marriage, unrealistic expectations, expects you to be everything to him, blames others for his problems, blames others for his feelings, claims that you control how he feels, are all bad signs. Cruelty to animals or children. You should, number one, right? And a lot of serial killers start off by hurting animals before they moved on to individuals. So that should be a telltale sign right there. Forced sex, verbal abuse, rigid sex roles, believes women should serve and obey men, believes that women are inferior to men and less intelligent, are all signals and signs, guys. So know these signs, share these signs with other people and let them know. And these are things that if you have a friend that's in a relationship and you see some of these signals, that should alert you that you might want to have a conversation with your friend or loved one, right? So let's talk about fight to win. When you assess a situation and choose to fight back, do it with full commitment to win. Anything less diminishes your effectiveness. So when it's time to go, don't go at 10%, 50%, go with 150% of everything you've got to end that fight and to fight back. Look for something you can use as a weapon if you have to defend yourself. Your cell phone can be used as a weapon. Water bottles, thermoses, fire extinguishers. Use anything to give yourself an advantage in the fight. Additionally, think of your own body as a weapon, right? I always say that there's many weapons on your body. Your head's a weapon, your hands are a weapon, your elbows, your knees, your legs. Being able to know how to use those properly to defend yourself is extremely important. So get proper training. Yell loudly. Yelling is both physical and psychological weapon. Loud, unexpected sounds can disorientate an assailant and possibly attract attention to you as well. Yelling also helps you with your breathing and being more stronger and being aggressive. So let that energy out of your body when you go into attack mode and yell and scream at the top of your lungs if you need to, right? Target your attack. Aim for the eyes, groin, insteps, windpipe, bridge of the nose, shins, knees, chin, solar plex, temples. We tell you all these areas are great vital areas to hit. There's some things you guys need to be aware of, and the most important thing is that you might kick them in the insteps and it doesn't work. You could kick somebody in the groin, it doesn't work. So don't make that your go-to, that I'm going to kick him in the groin and run. I'm going to kick him in the shin and then run. It's one of the worst pieces of information that any instructor can ever give an individual. The proper information is going to be, you're going to kick them in the groin and you're going to do whatever else you need to neutralize that threat. Then once that threat is neutralized, then you will leave and you'll go to a safe location and you'll get away from that individual. What that means that if you kick them in the groin and they don't drop down, you're going to gouge their eyes out. You're going to strike and hit them. You're going to knee them. You're going to do everything you possibly can. You're going to use things in your environment to defend yourself and make sure you can go home safe to your family. Don't have the mindset, I'm going to hit them once and run. I'm just going to kick them and run, or I'm going to try to hit them. I hope this works. If you have any of that mindset,
to think about too is this person puts you in this situation. This person, you have to protect yourself. You have to defend yourself. You got to go all the way. And I'm not saying go all the way as you have to kill them, but you have to hurt them. So right. When you punch them in the face or you kick them in the groin and they get that look of, oh God, what did I do? That doesn't necessarily mean they're going to stop. Or it just makes them angry and they're going to want to, they think they're going to hurt you more. How dare you? You weren't supposed to fight back. You can't stop until you can get away. So just one kick to, like Jamie said, one kick to the groin, one kick to the face. It's going to be more than one strike. I mean, you may get lucky and have a knockout punch. And if that's the case, great. But the chances are that person, they were doing what they're going to do to hurt you. They're not just going to give up because you decided you're going to hit them. You're probably going to have to do some. You're going to hurt them. You're going to do some damage, and it's tough for a lot of us. We're brought up not to hurt each other.
Right.
Because we're not that kind of person. We're not in that mindset. We're not predators.
Right.
But we have to learn how to deal with a predator, and you have to take on their mindset. They're there to hurt you. You need to hurt them. You need to make them understand that this is not going to be okay. This is not acceptable. And you have to make them so they can't keep coming after you or can't keep trying to hurt you.
You should get mad.
So you're going to do damage.
Yeah. You should get mad at this individual for thinking that you are going to be a victim, and you should turn the tables on them. You should think of yourself, how dare this person think they're going to hurt me? How dare this person think they're going to take advantage of me? Oh, hell no, it's not going to happen. And put that fight on, right? You want to incapacitate your attacker as quickly and effectively as possible, and then get to a safe place and call the authorities, okay? Let's talk about some guidelines of what to do after an assault. If you find that you've been sexually assaulted, it's the most significant thing you want to do is bathe and get away from this individual. But the important thing is not to bathe. Immediately after assault, it is your natural instinct to just want to get clean, right? But unfortunately, you hurt your chances of catching the attacker. You change your physical appearance before receiving medical attention. Do not take a shower. Don't brush your hair. Don't brush your teeth. Don't wash your hands. Do not clean, brush off, or destroy any of your clothing. That all carries some significant evidence for them to use to be able to go after this individual and catch this individual. Call someone to support you and have that person accompany you to the hospital for immediate medical attention. Write down any details about the attacker and the experience: description, license plate numbers, the vehicle they were driving, how many people were in the vehicle, anything you can get that you can remember about this incident. Start getting this information documented to give to the authorities, and call the police to report the assault. Please, it's very important. Make sure you make that call, because you could be that one individual that makes that phone call and stops this predator from doing this to somebody else. So make that phone call, right, guys?
Absolutely. And this is probably not their the first time they've victimized somebody. It's something that they do, and they get bolder and braver over time. And depends what they happen or what they've done,
right.
or the situation, now you're in.
Yeah.
So you really could save other people.
Right. And Katie brings up also tattoos, body marks, facial hair. Do they have a beard? Anything you could possibly get about this individual is important to try to document, so you can give that proper information to the authorities. So this brings us into the announcement of our college prep self-defense course. It's going to be held online this year. It's going to run throughout the month of May, and there's going to be an option to extend it. The class is going to start this Wednesday, 6:00 p.m. We're going to do a live online introductory class to everyone that's entering into the college prep program. This is for teenagers, preteens that have that maturity level to be able to go through this program and learn the skills necessary to defend themselves, both physically, but also teaching them verbal skills, situational awareness, safety tips, and so forth for when they're out with their friends, they're out for a night in the town, they're going away to school. Just some tips and safety things that they could keep in mind that could help keep them safe. Wednesday night, 6 to 6:30, we're going to do a live online introductory course with these individuals and students. And then at 6:30, we have our normal classes. And for the month of May, they're going to have access to all of our live interactive online classes, which are held Monday and Wednesday nights at 6:30 p.m. and Saturday mornings at 9:30 a.m. And if one of those days don't work for you schedule-wise, it's okay, because after the class is over, there's a replay video that will get sent out to everyone that is enrolled into the course, and they can watch the class afterwards. So they're not going to lose any time on that training floor or participating in that class. The other thing that we're going to end up doing is a 1-hour lecture for parents and the students that's going to be held in the month of May, where they're going to be able to come online with us. We're going to go over some statistics and some case studies, and allow a Q&A session with both the parents and the students to ask us any questions they have about going the way to school, certain situations that maybe happen in their community or to friends, and how to deal with those situations. So you're going to have access to us during that time frame to be able to ask any questions you have. Since we're officially announcing the program tonight, we're offering a $50 off to the program. So if you have any friends, family members that are interested in entering into this program or think it might be a great fit for them, send them to our website, t4survival.com. Right on the front page, smack dab in the middle. As you scroll down a little bit, you'll find the college prep self-defense course. And once you click that to register button, there's going to be an option to put in a promo code. And when you enter into our promo code for today, it's going to give you $50 off to be able to enter that program. That's going to be good for the next 24 hours. All right, so next 24 hours. So if you know of anyone that wants to enter into that program, please pass this code along to them, live50, put it in the coupon code box, and they'll get instantly $50 off enrolling into the program. Once they're enrolled, they get some emails welcoming them into the program, and then they get information to log on for Wednesday at 6 p.m. If for some reason Wednesday at 6 p.m. doesn't work for someone, we're going to have another option before the end of the week to be able to get access to the online course and being able to get them ready to start their first class maybe on Saturday morning. So please, if you have any questions, reach out to us. Go to our website, t4survival.com, and you can type in the lower right-hand corner, there's a little chat bot. Click on that and start a chat. That chat bot goes to any one of the three of us. You can ask us any questions you have. You can ask us questions about the course, or if you need to talk with your daughter, your son, your significant other about getting them enrolled, you need another day or so, start a chat with us, let us know, and we'll see what we can do to help you guys out. Again, the promo code is live50. It's $50 off. It's good for the next 24 hours before we launch this off and send out the email to the general public. We appreciate you guys jumping on with us live tonight and engaging in the conversation. We're going to be signing off in just a couple minutes. So if you have any questions for us, please put them in the comments below and let us know. And yeah, Lee, I'm going to put your comment up here, Lee, right? Lee, who's you always see working out behind us during the classes. I'll be the superstar in the back during the live streaming classes. Yes. So thanks for joining us tonight, Lee. And make sure you join Lee and myself for regular live classes. Again, they're held Monday, Wednesday night at 6:30 and Saturday mornings at 9:30 a.m. If you're not of college age and you want to get an online workout going, learn some practical self-defense skills, you could join the program as well. There's options on our website. Again, if you have any questions about joining our online program, getting access to these classes, start a chat with us. Also, you get access to our on-demand library, which has tons and tons of great video, technique videos, curriculum videos, and that's getting updated every week, where you can get some great, valuable information as well. Tracy, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it. Great advice. Thank you, guys. We're going to be signing off now. Mike, Scott, you want to add anything before we sign off?
No.
Excellent. Guys, we appreciate you joining us. Remember the promo code LIVE50. Feel free to share that with friends and family members. That will be good for the next 24 hours. And if they have any questions about the promo code or engaging or enrolling into the self-defense program, either for themselves or for their kids, have them start a chat on our website and ask any questions that they have. Guys, thank you for joining us. Make sure you spread the word. Join us back here next Sunday, 7 p.m. Eastern time, as we do our next live stream. Guys, have a safe week, everyone. And we'll look forward to seeing you guys next week, right? All right. Bye, everyone.
Have a good night.